Welcome to Retirement Decoded with your host, Scott Tucker, where we break down the complexities of retirement planning to give you clear, actionable advice. Whether you're just starting out or getting ready to retire, Scott's here to help you make informed decisions and secure your financial future. Tune in each week as we simplify the process and decode the path to a stress-free retirement. Now, here's your host, Scott Tucker.
And we're back. Welcome back to the podcast, Retirement Decoded with Scott Tucker. I'm your host, Scott Tucker. On microphone number 2, Associate Advisor Andre Hootie. Say hello, Andre Hootie.
Hello, Andre Hootie.
Andre Hootie, we have a question from the listener mailbag today. This question comes from Sue. Sue says, Andre, if the market or tax laws change again, how would you build flexibility into a retirement plan so you can adjust without starting over every time? So you're not starting over every time.
That's
rather dismal.
That's a lot of work if you have to start every time they change the tax law.
Maybe I misunderstood. Hey, this is Sue. Andre, if the market or tax laws change again, how do you build flexibility into a retirement plan so you can adjust without starting over every time? So she's talking about starting over in her retirement plan.
Yeah, I mean, Sue, I'm just going to put this simply here. If you're working with somebody and they're restarting your plan every time that the market changes or the laws change, it's time to maybe find someone new.
Well, because the whole point of planning is so we're okay either way. So we want to eliminate an unnecessary risk. We want to try to pocket our gains as we go, and that can be difficult with capital gains taxes. But there are strategies. There are hedging strategies to not lose all our money when the market crashes, because it does it every so often. There are ways to pocket our gains as we go without triggering long-term capital gains tax. That's kind of complicated to explain on a podcast. We also want to have a strategy. So you mentioned tax laws changing. So when we're in a historically low income tax regime as we are federally right now, we want to, and we're also, I can tell you, if you've got a large estate too, we've also got high state tax exclusions right now that we could actually lock those in potentially using maybe an irrevocable trust, things like that. Not that doesn't fit everybody. So as the tax laws change, we ought to be locking in what's currently available, so you don't have to worry about the tax laws changing again. There's always change in the area of health insurance up to age 65. There's even changes all the time for folks 65 and beyond with Medicare. That you kind of got to roll with a little bit. It's hard to lock those in. Then in the area of estate planning, now this varies state by state. Now, Andre, some folks are in Indiana, for instance, and we're federally licensed. We help folks all over, but we do hear from quite a few folks from Indiana. They can come to us through YouTube or the podcast or our radio show. We have a radio show in Chicago on WIND every Sunday. And so sometimes we hear from folks who hear the show. Like we just talked to somebody recently from Munster, Indiana, which is northwest Indiana, close to Chicago. And in Indiana, when it comes to estate planning, it's a little easier because Indiana doesn't have an estate tax.
That's nice.
But here in Illinois, we have an estate tax, and it applies to estates of $4 million or more per couple, not per person. So if you're at $2 million today, good chance 10 years from now or sooner, you potentially have an estate of $4 million or more. So we have ways to deal with that through estate planning. So those laws can change. The estate tax laws tend not to change too rapidly at the state level. They haven't changed in a long time here in Illinois. But in federally, they can meander around, and then we have. But there are things that are always the same, like the unlimited spousal deduction, credit shelter trusts, donor advised funds, charitable remainder unit trusts. There's a whole bunch of things that stay pretty steady Eddie that we can use, Sue, as kind of building blocks in your plan. And then Social Security tends not to change too awful much. But recently, Andre, as you know, early 2025, President Biden, one of the last things he did those last few weeks he was in office, January 2025, President Biden signed into law the Social Security Fairness Act of 2025. Mm-hmm. And that's helped a lot of folks who, I would say unfairly, people who paid into Social Security, but then were told through WEP and through
GPO.
Yeah. Through windfall elimination provision and also through government pension offset, folks were told that even though you paid into Social Security because you get a pension from a government entity, that never mind, you're not going to get all your Social Security.
That's
yeah. So now the problem is that
robbery at its finest.
Yeah, but now as we undo it and we become fair, now the Social Security system's under a little bit more financial stress. But it's not fair to have people pay in and they can't get it.
Yeah.
So, and for folks who are worried about Social Security, the government, the people in Congress, nobody wants to be the guy or gal who's told that, or labeled as a person that killed Social Security. So they'll always move some things around. The people like Andre that are a little younger than me, they're going to move the goalposts and say you can retire when you're 85.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know for a fact they'll say I won't get to retire until I'm like 90. I'm just no doubt in my mind. I know I'm a couple decades away, but hey, no doubt.
So the plan, the Social Security will change, but it'll always be around for the people who truly need it. So it'll probably get means tested. And so some of us that have better incomes and some of us that save better than others, probably there could be some change there. But what they're not going to change, Andre, I think we're in agreement here. Folks that are like 50 plus, they're not going to change the rules for folks that are close to retirement.
Yeah.
They're going to take advantage of folks who are 30 and 40 years old.
Oh yeah. And, and then, or still working folks. So I'm in the camp that, hey, something that an easy button for Social Security to hit is, hey, let's change the tax rate on people. Let's just increase it by a little bit.
Yeah, they can change the full retirement age, and even the early age for Social Security right now is 62, and then the last call for Social Security is 70. They can move both those up for younger people. They can raise the Social Security wage base, the amount that you have to pay federal income tax on, so that instead of I think right now it's $176,100 or thereabouts. They can raise that higher, say, well, the first $250 an individual makes, or the first $500 an individual makes, so they can tax more of the money. They can increase the percentage of the Social Security FICA for the employee and the employer, or if you're self-employed, congratulations, you get to do both, and they can raise those. So there's a lot of things they can do on Social Security. So Sue was asking about risk in the market, tax laws changing, flexibility in retirement plans, you can adjust without starting over every time. So we're just saying your plan needs to be a little more stable, that it can survive all the storms.
Yeah.
People get I guess it doesn't work everywhere. So I was gonna say people get a steel roof. Not a recommendation to buy or sell any roof. But we have an asphalt shingle roof, but in Mount Prospect, Illinois, Natalie and I. But it might be, if you're really concerned about, more durable roof that lasts decades, then you probably want to think about a steel roof in northern Illinois. It doesn't mean that a tornado might not rip it off anyway.
Right. It just might be loud under the rainstorms.
Yeah, there's that too. I guess you got to insulate that out of it. And then there's also the thing, I didn't think about that. And then there's also, like, if in Mount Prospect or Westmont or Park Ridge or whatever, you might not be so concerned about tornadoes like you are if you're in Plainfield, Illinois.
Yeah.
Plainfield, Illinois, far southwest suburb of Chicago, and in Chicagoland, they seem to catch all the tornadoes. So a steel roof, heck, you might just say the heck with it. Let all the shingles get torn off every year, and every year get a new roof.
You could.
So Sue, there's all that. And then kind of deviating, having a little fun with the podcast too, as I like to do. When I was in the Navy, one of the places I was stationed twice for schooling. So I was a Navy cryptologist or code breaker. A lot of those schools tend to be at Corey Station down in Pensacola, Florida. They used to call it Naval Technical Training Center. They used to. So back in like Vietnam era, they would try to hide it from like the KGB and stuff.
I think you can really, I guess maybe back then you could hide it.
They tried to hide it. They would call it like the Naval Communications Training Center. So it was like NCTC. and of course, any naval communications are probably encrypted, and they're probably the great interest to the KGB and
right.
What's the other one? The
FSB?
No, what's the one, the military one? GRO.
Oh.
Is it GRO? GRU. Yeah, the military intelligence deal. So, but the Ruskies, the Soviets, they were interested in all kinds of things, military, and even all kinds of things, military industrial complex, civilian type stuff. And policymaking too. They would try to get through policymaking bodies too. So in Pensacola, Florida, they had the Naval Communications Training Center, and it largely trained cryptologists in Navy uniforms.
Okay.
But there was a little thing with that, though. There's a little icon, a rating badge they call it, that's embroidered on your rank device, and it would be a spark and quill. So a quill, like a quill pen, and a spark, like crossed spark and quill, they call it.
Oh.
That would indicate that you're a cryptologic technician.
Huh.
So you'd be at the Naval Communication Training Center at Curry Station, but then you'd have this embroidery on your rating badge that says you're a cryptologic technician, which is not a radioman.
Right.
So there's a radioman, and then there's a step kind of beyond that in classification typically, which is cryptologic technician, or our linguists and things like that. Linguists didn't go to school, though. They'd go to school in, what am I thinking of? Defense Language Institute in
California.
Monterey, California.
Yeah.
Defense Language Institute, DLI. But so then they changed. When I went to Pensacola, they stopped calling it Naval Communications Training Center. They started calling it Naval Technical Training Center. And we still had the little embroidery that said Spark and Quill. This guy's a cryptologist. Then the last I looked it up, it's like the Naval Information Warfare Dominance Center, like it's some crazy thing. And the thing I used to do was called Cryptologic Technician Communications, because there's 6 kinds of cryptologists at the time. Now they've changed it to the Cyber Warfare Technician.
Oh, wow.
I mean, Cyber Warfare Technician. I guess when I was in the internet barely existed.
Yeah, I guess.
So now it's the Cyber Warfare Technician. So now it's part of this recruiting.
Well, soon we're not even going to have the schools here on Earth. We're going to have what's the space mobile space station, the naval space station. I don't know what they're calling it.
Oh, it's all going to be manned by robots, Andre.
Yeah.
So they went from the Naval Communication Technical Center to the Naval Technical Training Center, and then it went to like the Naval Center for Information Warfare Dominance, and it's no longer Cryptologic Technician Communications. Now it's Cyber Warfare Technician. It makes the recruiting easier.
Well, yeah.
I'm gonna go to the National Naval Warfare Information Dominance Center. Are you ready for a Slim Jim?
Just wait,
brother.
Just wait for the Department of War technicians.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I guess we're laughing about.
That's the next iteration.
We're laughing about the Department of War, but is it any sillier than the National Center for Information Warfare Dominance Center at Corey Station, brother?
I can like just picture that in that like the voice that they do.
I like the NFL films guy.
Yep.
It was cold that day on the tundra.
Yeah.
To
have a voice like that, man.
Yeah. So anyway, I was thinking about the steel roof that made me think about Pensacola, Florida, because there's a thing. So this happens in areas where they get hurricanes. And so those of you listening to the podcast right now, and what's weird, Andre, the podcast is being listened to in something like 25 states. We get a little report where it gets listened to. It's also getting listened to most recently in Canada, Switzerland, a whole bunch of places.
Oh, nice. So we lost our Russia listeners.
Yeah, they'll be back.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
We've
had United Arab Emirates.
The internet over there. That's why
we've had United Arab Emirates. Well, still, they get a VPN. They get around it.
Oh yeah, well,
because we've had Russia, United Arab Emirates, Switzerland. The radio show that also goes over the interwebs recently was listened to in Norway.
Oh,
so I don't know if somebody was on a Norwegian cruise and they took us with them.
I guess so.
I think I got shortchanged in that because I don't really remember being on the cruise.
Hey, they had it.
But then again, I was in the Navy. I don't want to go any more cruises. No. The last cruise I was on was 6 months long and went to Persian Gulf and back. No thanks. Yeah, a lot of long days.
I can't even imagine.
So I started talking about the steel roof and then thought about Pensacola. So those of you in areas where there are hurricanes, you'll know that there's a thing called a dome home. Do you know what this is, Andre?
No, I can't say it.
It's a home made entirely of concrete. It has a dome roof to it, so the hurricane doesn't get it, but it also is on concrete stilts, like reinforced concrete stilts.
So like a bunker on stilts.
Sort of. So, yeah, it's made so a hurricane just goes over it and goes back. So the house is on stilts. Have you ever seen like in an area where it's on the beach and they have the house on stilts?
Yeah, I've seen those.
So they have the house on stilts, 15, 20 feet, much as it takes. You know, it's like that. What movie was that? Are you gonna put 220 in? Yeah, 220, 221, whatever it takes.
Oh, I can't say
the 220 voltage. So they'll put the house up 15, 20. I'm not an expert on hurricanes. You might have noticed, but if 15, 20 feet in the air is the clearance. So on the concrete steel, so the water can go underneath. Mm-hmm. The what do they call it? The storm surge. Yeah, storm surge? Question mark.
Sounds like.
And then the house itself has a concrete slab floor, like reinforced. That's on top of the reinforced concrete stilts. Mm-hmm. And then the walls and the ceiling and everything, the whole rest of it's a dome. It's like a half a golf ball.
I don't think I'd like living in that.
Yeah, and then they cut windows into it. Maybe now they probably 3D print it.
Yeah.
But 20 years ago they were cutting it, and I don't know how they were doing it. I guess they had a masonry saw. Would make sense. Yeah. But they cut the windows and stuff into the dome home, and then you know what you got to do is you got to get a special mortgage, a dome home loan. I'm not even kidding. There's a dome home loan.
Are you serious?
Some lenders don't want to insure dome homes.
That's why not?
Well, anymore, it's the best thing to insure.
Right. It's.
Well, I think the difficulty is it's hard to ascertain the market value. Well, because the appraiser, how do you get comps on sales of dome homes if you're the only dome home guy?
Right. It's like
if you're the only kid on your block in a dome home, get on our phone calendar at tuckerretirement.com. We'll spend 15 minutes for free over the telephone. We'll talk about the dome home and other things about your retirement planning at tuckerretirement.com. Click and pick a time off our phone calendar. So, Andre, what do you think if you're in Pensacola, Florida, home of the National Warfare Information Dominance Center, whatever it's called, and if you're the only guy at Pensacola Beach that had a dome home, I mean, you got to get your dome home loan. I mean, or you can pay cash for it, Andre. I know you're sitting on bank.
Right. Yeah,
you got a couple of million sitting in the bank waiting to build a dome home.
Yeah, that's why I got a mortgage over 7%.
Longtime listeners will know that Andre and Lauren are well, you're further, or no, you're both a few years ahead in you guys are both a few years along in your careers now. Yeah, it's not, you didn't graduate yesterday.
Yeah,
what am I thinking? It's been a while.
Been a little while. It's time flies though.
Yeah. Well, I remember just a little over a year ago, you guys got married, and about a year ago ish, you bought the house.
A little less actually.
Maybe, a little less than a year.
Yeah, okay. 9 months or so.
Yeah. So hey, don't worry. Recession's coming. Rates are coming down.
Well, I'm looking forward for the rates to come down. Hopefully, the house value doesn't.
Yeah, that's important, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, I think there's such limited housing inventory that the home values are likely to stay put.
I'm hopeful.
Well, one thing, we have a horrible birth rate. At the same time, we're trying to deport anybody who could build a house. And then all the been here a long time people, like 60-year-olds that know how to build a house, they're all retiring.
Yeah.
I don't know what we're going to do. Are we just going to all live in shipping containers?
I think so. Well, and then you have Amazon buying up every neighborhood there is. It's like the houses that we do have.
We're federally licensed. We can help folks all across the fruited plain. So we help folks in other states. But here in Chicagoland, we are in the Rust Belt, they call it, right? And we have access to a lot of nuclear power. And so a lot of the Rust Belt is like this, where we have a lot of energy production that used to be for factories. And so we have a lot of nuclear plants here that they were going to close. And now they decided, well, we better not close them. Mm-hmm. Governor Pritzker some time ago was like, well, we're going to get rid of all the coal burning plants. Well, then there's more pressure put on the nuke plants. We're probably going to not only have to keep the nuke plants open that we were going to close. That whole thing with the rainbows and unicorns, what was it? The windmills and the solar panels, that doesn't really work out so well to produce the amount of energy we need. So now we're trying to retrofit and kind of prolong the lives of these nuke plants in Chicagoland and probably open new ones. And there's one in Southwest Michigan, Palisades I think it's by South Haven, Michigan, or thereabouts. And the state of Michigan's reopening that one. That's been closed for a while. They got to redo a bunch of stuff, but they don't want to create a new site. Better to work with the sites you got. Dance with the one that brung you, as they say. And but we have a lot of energy, and we're also close to power transmission lines. We're also close to a large population. Chicagoland's about 9.5 million people, and so what's happening here in Chicagoland is a lot of these like they're not going to do it to our building. Our building's been updated. Our office complex is owned by private equity, and they poured a lot of money into making it the best office space in our area near O'Hare International Airport. But other properties that same private equity group owns, they've just torn them down.
No.
And there was one in, Rolling Meadows, almost Schaumburg. They just tore down a pretty new building, and the FAA actually was a tenant there. They told them, hey, we're tearing it down, get out. They kicked the FAA out because they were going to go in foreclosure and you're not going to have an office anyway.
Right.
So then they got the FAA to get out, and then they just tore the whole thing down. I think they're making that into a data center.
I can't say I'm surprised.
If I remember right, our friend who manages some properties told us, I think we said data center. And then some others are getting turned into Amazon warehouses.
Yeah.
So, because we're near O'Hare, and there's 9.5 million people in Chicagoland, and so everything, quote unquote, that's an office building. Office buildings, people are coming to work like 2 days a week.
Yeah.
And so they need less space to do that. I guess everybody will just meet in the conference room. They should just build. They should convert the office buildings into conference room buildings.
Yeah, why not?
You still have a surplus of them though. And then with the AI stuff, we need more data centers and things. So we're having in our area where that's what's happening. And now downtown Chicago, they're turning some of the office buildings into apartment buildings.
Yeah, well, they're trying, but then that's also turns out to be pretty expensive too, to try and retrofit those office buildings and make them residential.
It costs money just to pay attention, Andre.
Yeah,
that's what I always say. So there's all that. So I don't know, Sue. We just babbled a lot about worried about the market. There's hedging strategies, tax laws. There's ways to lock in today's historically low federal tax rates. They could get the federal tax rates provided for in the One Big Beautiful Bill Act. They could get repealed as soon as 2029. And then we could, if you have a large estate and you're concerned about locking in today's historically generous estate tax exclusions, we can lock those in perhaps with an irrevocable trust, not legal advice, not an attorney spokesman. We'll have to talk about it, and we'll also bring in our estate planning attorney on that one. And I should always disclose that, I don't own a law firm. He's independent of us, but we always pull in folks that we think could help you best. And you don't need to start over your entire plan every time. I don't think this is happening, Sue, but maybe somebody's telling you as market conditions change that you have to pay for a new financial plan. I don't think that's happening. I'm not a big fan of, we don't charge people for financial plans. We just do financial plans as a part of being your investment advisor representative. And so I don't think people ought to be getting nickel and dimed on financial planning, and that sometimes we see that happen as well. Well, Sue, it has been fun and it's been real. Once you get on our phone calendar at tuckerretirement.com for free, and we'll spend 15 minutes for free over the telephone with you in the coming week. Easier for you to say with one of our financial planners. Well, Andre, it's been fun and it's been real, and we will talk to you on the next episode.
Scott Tucker Solutions, Inc. has a strategic partnership with tax professionals and attorneys who can provide tax and or legal advice. Neither the firm nor its agents or representatives may give tax or legal advice. Individuals should consult with a qualified professional for guidance before making any purchasing decisions. A Roth conversion is a taxable event and may have several tax-related consequences. Be sure to consult with a qualified tax advisor before making any decisions regarding your IRA. The views and opinions herein are those of Scott Tucker Solutions, Inc. and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of AE Wealth Management, LLC. Investment advisory services made available through AE Wealth Management, LLC. AEWM and Scott Tucker Solutions, Inc. are not affiliated companies. Insurance products are offered through the insurance business Scott Tucker Solutions, Inc. Scott Tucker Solutions, Inc. is an investment advisory practice that offers products and services through AE Wealth Management, LLC, a registered investment advisor. AEWM does not offer insurance products. The insurance products offered by Scott Tucker Solutions, Inc. are not subject to investment advisor requirements. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal. Any references to protection, safety, or lifetime income generally refer to fixed insurance products, never securities or investments. Insurance guarantees are backed by the financial strength and claims-paying ability of the issuing carrier. This podcast is intended for informational purposes only. It is not intended to be used as the sole basis for financial decisions, nor should it be construed as advice designed to meet the particular needs of an individual's situation. Scott Tucker Solutions, Inc. is not permitted to offer, and no statement made during this podcast shall constitute tax or legal advice. Our firm is not affiliated with or endorsed by the U.S. government or any governmental agency. The information and opinions contained herein provided by third parties have been obtained from sources believed to be reliable, but accuracy and completeness cannot be guaranteed by Scott Tucker Solutions, Inc.